Peter Ward will probably let the ball in, which he does do. Harvey Price takes the applause of the crowd.
In our continued attempts to mirror the goings on at Edgeley Park, this episode contains scenes that some viewers may find upsetting, scenes of a sexual nature, and phrases that some viewers of a weird disposition may find triggering. I don't mind Wrexham at all. Brought to you in association with Blackbird Brewhouse and Kitchen, this is SK3 TV.
I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just look good. No, I'll just do it in front of her.
Going! He's kept going! He's gone! Oh, Stockport pressure. And a superb goal! Johnny did it! Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson! It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we got a small house, but we got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
You know, in much the same way Edgeley Park has become like the place to be for goals, this is a place to be for irreverent discussion of all things county. Yes, this is SK3 TV coming at you live, unfiltered, unadulterated. Don't know what it means, but I've always wanted to use it. Yes, every Monday from 8 PM we are talking about county that's happened, county that's going to happen, and then some stuff that's not even related to county. What more can you ask for? All wrapped up in one big, neat, hour-long-ish bow. That's all good. With me, Nick, it's Hannah. Hello.
Hi. You haven't got clips from Tuesday night, have you? That wasn't when you were talking about scenes of a sensitive nature or traumatic nature or something. That's what's
no, just a thought.
Okay, good.
Good, like that shell-shocked soldier meme.
Yeah, I'm good. Not sure what to expect from Saturday. I feel like Tuesday and Saturday kind of cancelled each other out. And it was like 2 0-0 draws just with a bonus point. And
done.
Yeah, that's my weekend.
It's going to be wild because we've got I was tempted to do a Twitter space when I got home from the game on Tuesday night just to get it all out so we didn't have to do it tonight. But I thought, no, because there's people out there who are good at doing Twitter spaces. I think we should stick in our lane.
I used to do the lower league look Twitter space and it was generally quite good. And I'm really good at controlling meltdowns because Swindon was a weekly and Donny when they were good. So if ever you do want to do that, but yeah, Tuesday night I was really glad that we'd already done the podcast, and whatever happened on Saturday there was like breathing space to Monday.
Yes, exactly. It's nice that we can start with Tuesday night and then we can kind of go upwards as the show goes on. And also with us, of course, last week he was a year older. Now he's a year and a week older. It's Will. Hello. I'm just going to continue every week on the birthday theme for you, even though it's Hannah's this week. Because Hannah's having a birthday this week. I've got to wait till June for mine, but
we can swap if you want. I don't.
I think Nick's got his birthday in a good spot in the year because it's halfway through the year since Christmas. When your birthday's this close to Christmas, it's always kind of like, it's your birthday and it's Christmas. Like, you get nice, big, spaced out. It's lovely. I'm jealous.
Yeah, but at the same time, I have to, make my toiletries last exactly 6 months. When
that is easier than
deodorant and
12.
Smellies. I don't know. I'm quite a sweaty mess of a man, Will. It's difficult.
Well, yeah, but it's
very difficult.
You've only got to make it last 6 months. I'm going to make it last 11 from Christmas.
Yeah, but you're not as sweaty and horrible as me, are you? It's not a competition.
I mean, both of you could just go shopping.
I mean, I do.
Yeah, but there's too many goodies in B&M. I see all the goodies and then I forget. It's like B&M's like the middle aisle of Aldi, but there's like 20 aisles of it.
But the whole shop.
Imagine that.
I am a full convert to B&M now. But what I will say is their trolleys on their, particularly the one in Cheadle Hume, their trolleys Cheadle Heath.
Don't be lumping us in with them poshos.
They are the most static electricity generating items I have ever come across in my life. I pushed the trolley around B&M, and by the time I got round the store, I vowed never to use the trolleys in B&M again because I was fed up of going, ow, ow.
It's just because you were so excited about the gold digestive biscuits.
I was quite excited about the gold
digestive
biscuits.
We're all excited about the gold digestive biscuits. I'm a two-basket man, mate.
I had one gold digestive biscuit on Saturday in the courtyard, courtesy of Mike, and I can never buy them. Although I did buy gingerbread Oreos, and they might need to make an appearance at the courtyard next week because they were.
Where did you get those?
The little co-op on Castle Street.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. Okay. Well, we've covered everything that needed to be covered there.
Yeah, it's at the end of the show. Like, I don't think we need to go any further.
Yeah. See you next
week.
Like
and subscribe. Everyone. See you next week.
Yes. I'll knock out some admin. Although, what admin could anyone possibly need after, informing people of bargain shop stuff and all that? No, I'm two baskets in B&M just in case I meet a woman and I want her to think I'm strong. She doesn't know.
See, I'm normally a just carry stuff in my arms kind of guy, and then pack at the car. Like, I don't like, but if I'm going for anything bigger, it needs to be a trolley. And B&M has just proven to. Also, they've only got the deep trolleys. They don't have like the nice shallow ones. You don't need a deep trolley in B&M. You're not buying that much stuff. This is what the masses are asking for, Hannah.
Are we the most boring cunts out there? The thing is, Will, me and you text each other about exactly this sort of thing. So now it's leaking. Our WhatsApp's just leaking. Oh, God. We should publish a book of mine and Will's WhatsApp conversation.
No, because there's the other ones that we don't publicise that, let's not.
Those ones where you're like really sexist. God. Yeah.
I'm not sexist.
I did send you a picture of Joseph Goebbels about an hour and a half ago, so let's move on from that as quickly as possible. Yes, we've got some admin for you.
Should we start again?
No, admin. I'm moving on to admin. We'll just pretend none of that got said. Just pretend none of the previous 8 minutes happened. In terms of admin, you will have heard in the cold open, because that's a technical term for it, that we are, of course, sponsored by Blackbird, Brewhouse and Kitchen. And if you present your ticket on a match day, then you get 15% off food and drinks, which is where we will be on Saturday. Not saying that, like, come and meet us, but just come meet us. Come buy me drinks. I'm getting back. I've had like a week and a half. It'll be a week and a half off the drink when I get to Blackbird on Saturday. So I'll be ravenous. I have other admin, if that helps. Next Wednesday, myself and Hannah will be at the Spinning Top on Wellington Road South, or the A6 as people call it, and we will be chatting to Andy Priest. And we've separately got some good talking points lined up. So at some point before next Wednesday, we'll come together and get them in some sort of order, and it will be fun. And that's on behalf of the Stockport County Supporters Cooperative. Go in the episode description when at the end of the episode, and I will put the link in there. What more can you ask for? And also, with the international break coming up, some of you might want to reminisce about a time when England, had a manager that had a plan and stuff like that and weren't just scrabbling around abroad to try and find a new one. So a friend of the show and fan of the show and county fan, Charlie Tidswell, is doing the Gate 102 podcast. Such a cool concept. He's like chronicling every game that Southgate has managed for England. And I'd imagine by the time he's done all 102 games, by that point, I'd imagine they'll have made Southgate come back to repair some sort of absolute catastrophe that's But yeah, you can find that Gate 102 podcast. He's on Spotify and all those places, and he's on Twitter as well. I've listened to like the first few, and he's like less than half my age, and he's doing like a podcast. So I could not do a podcast solo. I mean, some of the shit I come out with when there's people there. Imagine what it'd be like with no one. But yeah, at that age, like to be doing a podcast on his own, and it's well researched and everything. So
that's where you go wrong.
I do research. And if I don't do research, I don't brag about it like I'm proud. I just say, no, sorry, I didn't know that. Like when I'm watching a quiz show, I don't try and make up the answers. I'll just, if I watch it and they ask a question, I go, nope, don't know the answer to that. Sorry. No point, is there? Anyway, let's play the transition thing, and then we will get on to... Oh, we get to start with Wycombe. That's exciting. Oh, we've got a guest later on as well. We will be joined by Tim from the Fearless in Devotion Wrexham podcast. If you've ever talked about Wrexham on Twitter, you've probably spoken to Tim. I think it's fair to say.
He's getting around a bit this week, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I love it when he gets a bee in his bonnet.
I'm doing one tomorrow night. I'm going behind Wrexham lines.
Ah, yeah. Which one are you going on? 50 of them.
Racecourse Ramble.
Oh, that's a good one.
But I've had to find, it's parents' evening tomorrow night. It's virtual, 4-minute appointments. I've got 28 because twins. And so I'm doing Racecourse Ramble at 7:30 in between art and IT or something like that. So I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
No. And if it does, it wasn't your fault. No. Will's fault.
Blame you, kids.
Right. Just doing anything to stop from having to talk about Wycombe. So yes, Tim will be joining us between 8:30 and 8:40, and we can have a look ahead to Saturday's game. Saturday's game that I don't think people are that as bothered about as we have been previously, which is something we'll touch on. I mean, maybe we'll ask the viewers if it's a rivalry and just see the absolute state of the comments by the time we're finished. Let's talk Wycombe.
Oh, I was sat there thinking I'm going to hide under the desk, and then I was too slow. I don't want
next time tell me and I'll do it at the same time. We'll really freak him out.
That's a fair reaction, because that was... I still would not have it in my 20 worst Edgeley Park occasions. I don't think it would be in the worst 50, to be honest, which says a lot. But it was genuinely just torrid from start to finish. And the thing is that I think people were. I mean, a lot of this is irrelevant now because we've got the reaction. We've got one hell of a reaction after it. But it just coming away from it Tuesday night. My feeling was they were good. They're a good side who'll be up there, but the depressing thing was that they didn't need to be good. That second half, they pretty much just tossed it off for 45 minutes and still added another couple of goals. It was just, I'm glad it's out of the way. I'm glad we got what we wanted on Saturday, and because that it was minging. Will, talk to me.
First 10 minutes were all right.
We looked right. Yeah.
Then Horsfall cannons a clearance off one of their forwards. It doesn't get handled, and then he makes an awful tackle in the box. Really, really bad. Not something I've come to expect from Fraser Horsfall, to be honest. And just downhill from there. They killed us in 10 minutes in that sort of 10-12 minutes with this, because they scored all three in a really short period of time.
By 18 minutes, we were 3-0 down.
And that killed us. And even at half time, I was sort of half joking, but also meant it. You know, I've seen us come back from 3-0 down at Edgeley Park with 20 minutes to go. I've seen us do it. I know it's possible, but there was just something about the way that 1-2-3 just knocked the stuffing out of us. We just had no fight left. And I think it's a case of, I think Wycombe were good. I think they had to be good to sort of so quickly dismantle us like that. And then in the second half, they could just sit back. We didn't lay a glove on them. Did we get a shot on target? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did, no.
And yeah, they just contained us. And yeah, picked us off 2 more times. It was just an abysmal game, really. I was disappointed that Diamond went off at half time, because in the first half he was the only one looking to make forward runs. There was the one where he went almost from box to box,
and had no one to pass to,
and then had nobody with him. But I think Challinger's looked at their third goal and gone, he's off for that. I got entirely why he waited till half time, because it's like, well, we might as well just get it all out of the way together. But yeah, brutal. And actually, I would probably say it probably would be in my top 50 worst Edgeley Park experiences, but that's because having spent so long away from Stockport, I don't have as many bad experiences as you guys probably do. Below the likes of, the Dartford 1-0 defeat, well below that, below some of the ones in the admin season. But yeah, pretty bleak. But it was kind of helped by the fact I do think Wycombe are going to be up there come the end of the season. They're very effective.
I think a lot of people, when they've thought of Wycombe, they've thought of them being a side in the League Two playoffs with us. They've not thought of what Wycombe have been in the time we've been in non-league, which is a team that's gone up to the Championship and has always been around the top end of League One, which, they will be once again. I always felt sorry for them because they became a bit of a novelty club because they had Akinfenwa playing for them. So I think people associate them as like a banter club because of that. Yeah. It's like, no, they're a very, very well-run club, decent amount of money behind them by the sounds of it as well. Because, their manager, Bloomfield, was strongly linked with the Coventry job this week, which is absolutely mental that job's available, but that's a different podcast. But yeah, and it seems Wycombe can basically hold that sort of pull off. They don't have to let him talk to him or anything. He seems to be quite happy to say so. They've obviously got a fair amount of backing, but yeah, they will absolutely be up there this season. I've been doing this thing of not looking at the league table prior to games. So we've been so when we played Charlton away, I did not know that we were next to each other in the table. I think I'll wait until Christmas. After Christmas, that can be my Christmas present to myself. I'll start looking at the league table. I only look at where we are. That's about it. I think you've mentioned the third goal, obviously Diamond's part in it. He wasn't the only player who made a catastrophic error with that goal, and it seems to have been the straw that broke the camel's back. I think would be fair in terms of the change being made. Now, I think if we've not mentioned it on air, then what have we been doing for the past 19 weeks? But I think you're the same as me. You didn't think there was a need for a change at the start of the season. I think it should have been Ben's shirt to lose, as it appears it probably is again now. I think it's just, if it was just a mixture of different errors that he's making, I think that's different to when it's the same error being made. That thing of pushing the ball out, and that wasn't even a shot at him for the third. It was a cross. It was a cross, spilled, which makes it even more. But you can tell his head's down when he comes running up to the Cheadle end before a game. His head's down. There's no applauding, and I don't blame him. It's quite rare these days that we get to whinge about our own fans. It was like a weekly thing in non-league a lot of the time. But the chanting of Ben Hinchlife's name after that third goal is just what my genitals just went up inside me. I was just like, and it was cold as well, to be fair. But I was just like, this is genuinely a bit. No, don't like that. Don't like. It's not helping anyone, is it? What do you reckon?
And that's what Charlie alluded to, kind of going into Saturday. That Edgeley Park or our fans can be challenging to play in front of.
Challenging. Challenging is what you say when a child misbehaves at school, isn't it? Yeah.
But you know, the team on Saturday had, it was, I don't know, it felt more like county DNA, and not, I mean, we'll go on to Bolton, I guess, but that, I mean, Wycombe were good. They were physical, they were fast, everything. As it was at Cone, the centre forward was incredible. But they, you know, they deserved their place in the league. They, in the summer, they recruited, I think, can't remember where they finished last year, but they recruited from League One, and recruited quite heavily. So, you know, they're obviously ambitious, but I mean, the table's so tight. It was like this last year in League Two. You know, we've gone from like 12th, 13th to 6th because we won on Saturday. Yeah. And granted, we're one of only a couple of teams that have played 15 games. But, you know, you were saying Charlton before. Charlton now are bottom half of the table. But, you know, there's not many points in it. It's just snug.
Yes, and I think, and I know there's a Leighton Orient fan who posts on Yellowboard and has done for 2 or 3
quite
years
a while
now.
Yeah.
Fairly well reasoned, and he gave a lot of feedback on what League One's been like, and he said some weeks you will absolutely batter teams, some weeks you'll get battered. And it's, I mean, we've had a 4-1 home defeat, a 4-1 home win, we've had a 5-0 home defeat. A 5-0 home win.
And look at Wycombe. They'd had, I think we were the 4th or 5th game in a row where they'd scored 3 goals or more. Because I said, this is what they do. Clearly, this is why they don't score more than 3 goals. They play 3 goals. They score 3 times and then shut up shop. And then I sent a text 5 minutes later saying, I was wrong. I think it's going to be 5, which, you know, text that preceded unfortunate events. But on Saturday, they beat Wigan 1-0.
But at the same time, we discovered ourselves how hard to break down Wigan can be. You know, Wigan on their day, they've got players who will put bodies on the line. They are well drilled, well organised, and stay in their shape. So yeah, I think obviously no defence is impenetrable, but Wigan are going to grind out a lot of clean sheets, and so to even get just the 1 to win the game. Wycombe have done really well there. And I think, sorry, just quickly on county fans being less than supportive, I will just say it's one of the things I like about not being in the Cheadland, because I didn't hear any chanting for Ben. Now, I have made no secret of the fact that I am an enormous Ben fanboy. I think some of the disrespect he's shown, I've seen some of it this week on social media.
It's mind-blowing that we're even discussing disrespect.
Yeah. I would never chant for Ben with Corey Adai or any other goalkeeper in goal. I didn't when it was Ethan Russ, who I thought was put in because Simon Rusk was panicking. That is, you know, make these comments to your friends in the ground if you've got to say something in the ground on WhatsApp. Make them outside of the ground after the game. Don't chant and put down our players while they're playing for us. It's self-defeating. It's self-destructive.
And don't tag them on Twitter either.
Oh, no. I mean, there are
the
times
worst thing
when
about football.
There are times when tagging a player on Twitter I think is acceptable. I tagged Will Collar after his celebration because I thought his celebration on Saturday was superb.
Brilliant.
Don't, when you've got a thread of people slagging a player off, don't then tag that player and going, I support you. What are you doing?
Well, I, for one, don't think that @player X is absolute shite and should just kill themselves. Stop being weird. Can everyone stop? That's weird. Chanting, especially with a goalkeeper, it's one thing chanting for another player to be brought on, an outfield player, because they could be coming on for one of 10 players. But chanting for the substitute goalkeeper and then getting your knickers in a twist about a player fulfilling his obligation to the sponsors after the game. When people will touch themselves up all year round, going, "Oh, we're a community club, we're a proper club, we do things like that right." And then when a player does do things like that right, it's like, you should not be allowed to smile. No,
Can you
no. After you have a
imagine?
bad day at work, you've got to just cry for a week afterwards.
That poor lady from British Gas, if Will
Oh
Collar
God, yeah.
there with her, like, you know, she's getting to meet, you know, probably one of her favorite players. They had to pick someone, and yeah, of course she smiled. At someone
No one's had a go at her for smiling.
smile.
She's the only person who walked out of Edgeley Park smiling after that. To be fair, there was a point in the second half I was just sat there laughing. I
had moments.
I was sat with watcher and listener of the show, Mike Elsmore, and he left about 20 minutes to go. He left when the fourth went in because his wife and children were at a bonfire, so he went to meet them. And then I thought, right, I'll go. But I just started walking around the stand. Because it's like the National League North days. I was just bumping into people. I was like, I'll go and sit there. I'll go and sit there, just chatting. I tried to leave and then just went chatting to people. I had a good old 10-minute chat in the toilets. It was just, yeah, it was great.
I got a hug from Will at the end. Will came to find me, and we had a kind of consolatory hug on the pop side.
There we go. Well done, everyone. Well done.
It.
Yeah, I waved at Geordie Hatter. Me and Geordie Hatter like made eye contact and did a bit of a. I did like the face that, you know, when you see like an American a poster for an American sitcom and they all take the piss out of the dad. So the dad's got the kids and the wife around him, and he's just like,
yeah,
that was me. That was me for like the last 25 minutes on Tuesday night. But let's move on from Tuesday night because we've got.
I do have one final last very quick thing. As I said, and I kind of set myself up for this last Monday by saying I sometimes find it easier to chant and support when we're losing than when we're, you know, winning comfortably. I was still singing all the way up until the fifth goal went in. I was still supporting the team. I was still chanting. Yellow Block was still making noise, and I just wanted to get that out there.
Well done. Well, what we'll do. Tim is in fact here. So I think what we'll do now that Tim's here is we will play our random county non-league goal of the week, and then we'll get Tim on. We will have a chat about the Wrexham game on Saturday, and then we can just after we've done that, we can
end on a high.
Yeah.
After we've done that, we can just sit here frigging ourselves off going on about the Bolton game on Saturday. That sounds like a plan. Let's have our completely randomly selected non-league county goal of the week, and then we'll bring in Tim.
Good first touch from John Rooney. Second one releases Reed, who in turn finds Ben Whitfield on the left flank. He might have to check back inside here, Whitfield. Well, he does, and then goes round the outside again. Gets his crossing too high for Reed. It's kept alive by Madden, who can pull it back to Croasdale. Blocked inside the area, but they've put it home. It's a fantastic finish inside the 6-yard box. He's only just come off the bench. Ryan Rydell makes it 2-1 to County. Brilliant football down that inside left channel, and County look down and out at half-time. They've turned it around in this second half, and Ryan Rydell, with his first goal for the club, has put County in front 2-1.
Those were the days, weren't they? Are we keeping Tim all right?
Entirely random.
That was fine until you did that. Thanks for that.
Oh, it's all been great since then. It's all right. How are things in North Wales?
Well, yeah, it's pretty good, to be honest. We've had a lot worse years for sure. So yeah, it's good, isn't it? I mean, nobody expected. Well, we certainly didn't expect to be anywhere near kind of like top 5, top 7. So to be in the race at a relatively early stage, just say early stage, it's like a quarter of the season gone already.
It's mad, isn't it? I only realised that this morning. It's bonkers. It's just flying back. What I've enjoyed the most about you this season and last season actually is a large, not just our fan base, but a large part of other fan bases as well will say, well, their style of play, they'll get found out at the level above, and you just don't. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, I'm of a certain age and era where I haven't got much time for XG bollocks and all that nonsense. And, you know, how dare you play football like this where you give us all the ball and we don't know what to do with it and we can't beat you and we go home crying. Sorry, there's more than one way to win a game and it isn't always the nice way. So, yeah, it's a strange thing. People just try and look for new ways to despise Wrexham. Like you know, deep down they're like, I kind of like the documentary, but I don't want to admit it. And then there's like, oh, well, Paul Mullins found his ceiling because he can't score at League One. And if it's not that, it's something else. And, you know, whichever way you look at it, nobody can really look past the fact that the ownership model has kind of not been a trailblazer, but it's definitely opened the door to others looking to sort of invest in clubs over here. I think it's probably going to be the first of many, I think.
Me and Will have been quite vocal. We quite like Wrexham. I think we say it pretty much every week, whether it's on here or in a group chat. Something's like, I like that. I've always liked Wrexham. Like going back to like the 90s and stuff. I've always, and it's just, I must admit, this was the first summer where I've actually seen some mumblings of discontent from Wrexham fans online. With regards to academy and training ground and that sort of thing. What's the score in that respect at the moment?
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange, really, because I think we all know that if we were to go up the season, then we're massively playing catch up off the pitch in terms of the infrastructure and everything else. Getting the right people in the right areas now, in terms of, you know, sort of staffing and so on and so forth. But in terms of the infrastructure, what's needed, the training ground aspect, I think Humphrey Carr, the executive director, cited, I think, Fleetwood's kind of training ground as an example of what they would look to in terms of making it a multi-use thing, getting all the offices out of the stadium footprint and into there, and then having it as a community hub so people can use it, 3G, 4G pitches and so on and so forth. And it becomes like a wider extension of the community values that they're adhering to. So it's still way off, I think. We've kind of got a bit of a tie-up with Darland High School, which is probably about 5 miles away from the city centre. But that's mainly for the academy youngsters to play on. And the sort of the first team have lived a bit of a nomadic existence over the last few years in terms of where they've been able to plot themselves, because whichever way we look at it, there is a distinct lack of acceptable facilities of what they need, you know. So we've been bouncing between Carden Park, playing, like training at the race course, kind of all over the place, really. So that is a priority. But yeah, everything just seems to be dragging its heels a bit on that front, you know, a world away from what's actually going on the pitch. So, you know, there's been a bit of a delay with the sort of the extension of the ground as well, hence the temporary cop that's gone up. I say temporary in brackets, it's become a little bit more permanent than temporary these days. But we've now appointed a different architect who've now come back to the drawing board and said, look, if you want to future-proof for years to come and you don't want to move that ground anywhere else, then this is what we're looking to do. Not just build a new stand, but build this stand, then the corners, then extend your other existing stands. So they're looking at enhancing the entire footprint of the ground and not just one end. So yeah, it's all a bit mad, to be honest. It's all a bit crazy, and but you know, somebody said the other day, or somebody put on Twitter, and it stuck with me big time. They said, "What is more important, the journey or the destination?" And I really, really like that. And I think if you ask anybody, you probably yourselves, you know, you see a lot of whinging from sort of yo-yo clubs like the likes of Leeds and so on and so forth who've been there. Ipswich fans are moaning about the Premier League now. They're all saying that it's so much more fun. Yeah, I'd love a little dalliance in the top flight, but then yeah, come back down. I don't know. It's a weird one.
You're basically us. Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot. 3 seasons, I think, is the ideal. You get one where you go up, you bloody a few noses, you maybe threaten to get a European spot. You know, you really shock everyone. The following season, you know, you're mid-table. It's proving first season wasn't a fluke, but, you know, you're not just dropping straight back down. And then third season, you go down gallantly on the last day, never to darken the Premier League again. That's my sort of ideal scenario.
But not
City a few times.
Not stinking the place out like Sheffield United did last season. That was just disgusting.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that really got me yesterday. The Chris Wilder pissed up in a pub singing.
Is that genuine?
That sounds like a
genuine
manager.
Yeah, this is a man who complained to the FA because a referee ate a sandwich in front of him last season. Genuinely, he was when he went in to speak to a referee after the game. He's like, and he sat there eating a sandwich. Oh God. Oh, what a crap! It showed a lack of respect. Well, don't go in Greg's, mate. Whatever you do, you'll be fucked. So onto this season. Obviously, we're seeing a bit of. There seems to be same as ourselves, really. A move towards trying to be more sustainable in terms of signings with yourselves. You know, bringing in players that you can look at selling on. How's that going? And Mo Farr was one that. I know he seems to have divided opinion amongst your fans at the moment, but he was one I've kind of been meaning to keep an eye on because he's always looked quite impressive when we've come up against him last couple of years. How's he going?
Farr's a bit of a funny one, but then the entire striker situation is a funny stroke, not that funny one from a Wrexham perspective, because as much as we've got some decent strikers, we don't have any out and out pacey strikers, and we saw that with Mansfield, like Gregory, Swift, Evans is clever. You know, we've got some old heads, and like even the older heads are getting even older. Like Fletcher has been on the injury table and he's back soon. Palmer's not chipping in with goals, but he is a really good target man. He continues to be a good target man. We know Mullin, it's been documented. Yeah, he can score a goal after 16 seconds at Rotherham, but is he doing it consistently enough at the moment? No. Is he still recovering from an injury? Yes, maybe, but then if he was still recovering, they wouldn't be playing him. So if he's good enough to play, it's as simple as that. And then you've got like Marriott, long-term injury now, broke his leg in training. I think apparently stood on a sprinkler. Is the alleged?
Oh, we know all about that, don't you worry? Yeah, we've had one of them.
Stinker, because he was doing so well as well. He really was doing well. Some of his goals are fortuitous, but if you don't shoot, you don't score, do you? So that kind of leaves us. I wouldn't say threadbare. But yeah, a little bit wishy-washy, and we're just a little
on
bit
the ground.
Yeah, I think so. And Mo Farr, as much as he's it cost us a fair bit of money, I'm not really sure he's the answer at this stage, to be honest. He's definitely a work in progress. But you know, when you're sitting in third position and you're kind of worried if the goals are going to dry up, you can't afford to have £500,000 player as a work in progress. I think we've got to try and accelerate that. In one regard or another, and he'll probably play tomorrow in that Bristol Street Motors game and get some more minutes under his belt. He's all right. He's a big lad. I think he needs to kind of work a little bit harder on the defensive side of things as well, and he just needs to strike up an understanding, because whichever way you look at it, the sort of Palmer and Mullin thing has been so inherently important to Wrexham over the last three seasons that it's hard to break, but it's probably showing signs of the fact that it's going to have to if the goals don't flow, because if your strikers aren't scoring, you have to give somebody else the opportunity.
I was under the impression that Palmer had sort of dropped off a little bit. I know that that first season he was with you guys, the one that first National League season.
Yeah,
he was phenomenal for you, but then I thought he was sort of less impactful when you won the division, and I got the impression last season that he only really. From what I'd read, he only really turned up against us on the last day and had kind of been a bit hit and miss throughout the season. Have I completely misinterpreted that?
No, I think somebody posted something before, because we kind of intimated that maybe his role has slightly changed from an out-and-out striker to just a target man who can just let the ball roll off and let somebody else have all the glory. Similar to kind of what happened with him and Mullin initially, but maybe more towards his strike partner rather than just him. But then somebody said something like, I think he scored like 15 goals in whatever, 50 or 60 games, which is not great, really, I suppose, if you look at it like that. So it's a weird one. I mean, he's not fast. Again, this comes back to the speed issue. He's not fast, but he's massive, and you'll struggle to chuck him off the ball. When it's great to have the height and the physicality from set pieces and corners, but we didn't win a corner against Mansfield. So it's all very well having the height, but you've got to use it to your advantage, which we really didn't, and we kind of got away with murder really in that game. Really should have. There's no way we deserved 3 points by some distance, but still a good player, still a focal point. Probably, even though he's signed. Did he sign an extended deal? I think he signed an extended deal recently, which surprised me, because I thought, in my head, it still might be the case. It still might be the case that this may be his last season with us, because he's very much still got his roots down south. He's still got a house down there. So there's nothing to say you might have one final swan song further down that neck of the woods. Maybe return to Wimbledon if the money was okay. So I don't know, but it sounds ridiculous. But Wrexham are getting to the point now where if they did go up, as we all know, it's a massively different story altogether. You can forget what's been achieved in League Two and the National League and the League One if it was to go well. It's like you're starting afresh. As far as I can see, you're starting completely afresh. You've got to get rid of a lot of, not deadwood's the wrong word, but you've got to look at that squad and go, can this compete at the Championship? And whilst there's probably a handful of players there that can compete in the Championship, I would probably say there's more that can't. And that's when we're really going to have to change that up, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair.
On to this Saturday then. It's weird that the games between ourselves and Wrexham they're taking on less importance as the years go on now, which is just a sign of us both get to where we feel we deserve to be. It's a lot less important now. But who are the players we should be keeping an eye on Saturday?
I mean, we've got a very good goalkeeper now, obviously. I was always hopeful that he would come back and sign, so to get Arthur Okonkwo back, completely upbringing through Arsenal, goes to Austria, wins the Austrian Cup, comes back to us, gets us promoted. So massive presence in goal. Great young defender in Max Cleworth, really, really good, really solid, one of those saleable assets. But I think on current form, I say Ryan Barnett by a country mile on the wing. He has stepped up to the plate and beyond what any of us could have reasonably imagined. In one of the games, he provided 4 assists, scored the goal, scored the winner on Saturday. People struggle to contain him. It's like, well, you're either going to double up on him and then free up some other players to come into the mix. You can't go tight to him. You can't give him too much space. He's a really, really difficult player to mark. He's old school in the sense that he'll hit the byline, ping it across, and 9 times out of 10, he will put it on a sixpence for those that he's looking for. He's just really, really good. And I said, if he carries on chipping in with goals between now and January, I genuinely do think that there will be some serious offers that they'll have to go, okay, that's quite a significant fee for somebody we picked up from Solihull Moors. So every player's got a price, and just because your owners are fairly wealthy and well-known doesn't mean that at some point some player's going to go, that move is for me. It will happen at some point. It's not happened yet.
Yeah, and our most offensive minded,
that'd be a very interesting couple of battles possibly on. Yeah. He's away on international duty, and in terms of left right, looking at 2 players who've spent between them have just been out for a combination of about 2 years. We're both fantastic on Saturday when they came back in, but it's a very different proposition having to defend against someone who's actually going to do something, unlike Bolton. Who have you been most impressed with in terms of sides you've played this?
Annoyingly, it's got to be Birmingham. They were levels above.
They're such wankers, aren't they? They're so annoying.
Yeah, well, you know what? They are a very. I mean, I always kind of like look back and go, we were never that entitled. We were never that up our own arse, because when you've had 15 years in the National League, you can't afford to be. You just can't. And I've seen so many smart ass comments from Birmingham fans. Not all of them, but probably the majority. And they all thought they could walk it, and then they let in a 97th minute equaliser against Northampton, which was great to see, from our perspective anyway. So, yeah, great team. Anybody who can spend 14 million on one player, you're going to have something about them. They play the game quickly with a lot of intensity. Got some match winners across the board. And yeah, they've been really good. They've been really good. Peterborough were all right in possession, but we picked our moments and just picked them off really. So that was, but it was only really them Bolton were good at the time, but obviously you saw a very different Bolton to to what we did.
Yeah,
I suppose it's different when you're at home to when you're on the travels. But I saw the highlights. Dude, Bolton just looked lost. I mean, Everett's got to be a dead man walking. How he's still in post is beyond me. Bolton fans are going to be voting with their feet very soon, if not now, because he's not going to last. How do you turn that around? You just don't. So, but they were decent.
I mean, I'd imagine like they're just find a good picture of the corner flag to post. That's the only reason that surely that he's still in a job. They're just trying to take a good corner flag photo because there's no other. He looked dejected on Saturday. It just looks defeat. Totally don't understand it.
He is also a part owner. He is also a part owner of the club.
I think that's what makes it more complicated. Yeah, he's got shares in the club.
I read something on Bolton's message board about them being worried he might become director of football and they'll bring in a head coach under him. So, yeah.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, but whichever way you look at it, it's probably the most competitive League One that there's been for a very, very long time in terms of the quality of the teams that's in the division. That's not disrespect to supposed lesser teams. We struggled at Stevenage. You're an accomplished team at this level. You can't take anything for granted, Rotherham. I think Steve Evans is clinging on to his job there. We kind of huffed and puffed over the line, but it was good to win there. But I think anybody can beat anybody on their day. The big plus I can take, and I might be jinxing it massively now, is for the large part, we're just very tough to beat. Even if we're not playing particularly well, we're defensively decent. They're all in kind of tandem. One another. There's been a little bit of a shake-up, but on the whole, defensively really good. Midfield can be good one day, it can be not so good the next, as we saw at Harrogate. Just poor at Harrogate in the cup. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We haven't won there since 2012, I want to say. It's been a while.
I wouldn't worry about that. Wycombe had never won at Edgeley Park before, so...
So with in mind, before we let you go, Tim, especially what happened in the fixture last season, what are you anticipating? I'll stop short of asking you for a prediction because that's very challenging.
I mean, I'll be astonished if there's no way it can be another 5-0. Not just if anything else, what are the odds of you having
we're not gonna have 3 league games in a row that finish 5-0. That's not going on. No chance.
That's crazy. That I think it'll be close. I spoke to your old colleague Russ the other day, and he was saying that Stockport are a slightly different kettle of fish now, in the sense that they've got a lot of young players, and depending on who turns up on the day, they can either be very, very good, or they can be a little bit, that lack of inexperience may come to the fore. That's only where I can think that maybe we might have that edge in that regard in terms of the experience we've got through the spine of the team. There's no accounting for the amount of experience you can have when you've got the likes of Dan Scar, just a massive, massive presence as a defender, played loads of games for Plymouth Argyle in the Championship. So I think it'll be close. And it'll be I'm just glad it's on, to be honest, because there's a lot of women and iron about whether it'd be off with this international call-ups and all that sort of jazz. How weird, isn't it? It's nice to say that. 1 minute we're in the National League and National League North.
It's mad, isn't it?
International call-ups. Absolutely wild. But you know what?
I mean that Wycombe game last week, we could have had it for the first international break, and then because we had both our left backs on international duty, we get it called off, and then go and lose 5-0 at home. So I think it's best to get these games on. I think we're going to learn that.
Yeah, well, you want to get them on because, like, I think you've probably just had it announced as well how many televised games you've got. We've just been told we've got 5 televised games.
We've got 1
in February. We've
got 1.
5 we've got. It's like, I mean, it sounds. I suppose it's all money at the end of the day and all that sort of jazz, but 5 is a bit extreme, especially when 2 of the away games are 12:30 kickoffs at Reading and Northampton. Yeah, it's like this is part of modern football. No, it's gonna suck it up. Yeah.
Another reason not to spend too long in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I couldn't think of any worse places, to be honest, than going to Northampton and Reading at 12:30 because there's nothing around those grounds unless you want to go bowling. It's just nothing around them all. So
there's a TGI Fridays.
Yeah,
or is that gone now?
I think it's probably still there, but
Yeah.
I don't know. You just, you like. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm not taking anything away from Reading and Northampton, but I think there's certain teams that I class as proper clubs, and that's usually the ones that are slap bang in the middle of their communities, where you'd have to travel miles to get to where you go, and it feels like, oh, this is my football club. It feels like I'm representing a different town completely because it's so far away from where you are. So, yeah, I'm excited though. It should be good. Just realised can't be ticket. Happy days. Don't lose that bad boy. It's like rocking all shit. Like 800 tickets. Why the limited amount? I think everybody's getting limited amount. Is there a reason for it, or is it just more home fans?
Yeah,
more home fans.
The only ones who've really whinged about it. It's just pretty much selling out every game. So the away end is the open end behind the goal is for home fans, and then away fans are 2 blocks of the top side. So it'll be the talk is that the work's going to be starting in January on the expansion. So yeah, much like yourselves, really. I think it's limited allocation for away fans, as it should be. If you can flog tickets to home fans, then do it. I say.
Also,
right, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Tim. It always is. But we need to go and touch ourselves up talking about the 5-0 win over Bolton before it gets to shutting up shop for the night. So thank you, mate. Always a pleasure talking to you.
I just wanted to say one very quick thing on the location. Sorry, Nick. 2 blocks of the pop side has been the primary away allocation at Edgeley Park for about 20 years now. The problem is that the Football Ground Guide and a couple of those other sorts of websites still have the railway end as the main away end, and it hasn't been for 20-something years. We were giving the 2 blocks of the pop side when we were certainly last in League One, the time before we were last in League One, because I remember away fans used to walk in front of us in Yellow Block. So, that's always been the away end, and then the railway end has only ever been spillover, and just at the moment, it's spillover for the home sections. So, yeah, just wanted to get that out there with somebody who might spread that elsewhere. So, yeah.
Right, I'll leave you to go and get sweaty about ripping Ian Everton, you arsehole.
Excellent. Always a pleasure, Tim. We'll speak to you again soon.
Take care. See you later.
Nos with that.
Very good. Diane.
There we go. Away fan guest and everything. Jobs are good. And I like Wrexham, don't you?
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. We'll see about that on Saturday night when we're all on Twitter going, I hate you all.
I'll change my tune once I get in the ground on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
I'll be like, fucking noisy bastard.
Well, you'll be closer than any of us to them, won't you? So
I think Hannah will be closer than me by about sort of 5-6 columns of seats. Yeah.
It's have you seen, there's a meme, isn't there, about like that Stockport's got the scariest ultras.
The kids. The kids at the front.
The new breed this season are very much embracing this reputation, but they were giving it to the Wycombe fans on Tuesday, which was utterly hilarious. On Saturday, they were very much enjoying themselves, and the stewards, there was one steward who was just kind of stood like almost laughing at them, because they're like, they can barely see over the boards. They're tiny, and they're gesticulating, and they make me laugh. I love people watching, and the characters like in our little bit of the pop side are special.
It's brilliant. I love it. I wouldn't change
it. Speaking of child ultras in the pop side, there's one that really annoys me on the Bolton. I was going to say on the Bolton highlights, which normally you'd take to mean the 5-3, but now I have to clarify. But on the 5-3 Bolton highlights, when Quigley scores in extra time, the camera goes to zooms in on a kid in the pop side, and he's got that cauliflower haircut, and he's just he's a little knobhead, he is. Oh, he really rubs me up the wrong way. Anyway, onto this Bolton game. Onto another iconic 4-goal showing from County against Bolton. Hannah, talk to me.
5,
well,
mate.
it was just
5.
5, yeah.
You said 4.
5-star
Did I?
performance.
You said 4-goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a weirdo.
Don't be doing us out of 20% of the goals. It just wasn't. Just wasn't expecting it, and it was like Wrexham last season for me, that home game. And I know, like, same scoreline, but I remember sitting there thinking, "Is this really happening?" And Bolton are incredibly good, or have been incredibly good this season at coming from behind. They've been 2-0 down, and they've gone on to draw. I think they've come from behind as well to win. And so I am very cautious in my kind of enthusiasm. Will and I were talking about, the Bolton get battered chance started at 2-0 up. And Will was like, I'm not joining in. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. It's not my kind of thing anyway. And it gets to 4-0. And it's the same against Wrexham. I remember the bloke sitting next to me last time saying, do you think we're going to win yet? And I was like, no, I've seen what they can do. But they just they looked like we did on Tuesday night. Yeah. And similarly, couldn't work out whether they were incredibly poor or we were incredibly good. And I think Wycombe were very good. I think we were very good on Saturday. I think Bolton were poor on Saturday. We were poor on Tuesday. So I think it's exactly the reverse. But it was just fun, wasn't it? Like Odin Bailey's goal at the end. I was so pleased for him because he's come in for a lot of criticism, a lot of stick from fans who've said that, he's not been good since he got a permanent contract. And, it was a lovely goal, a great run. And they just looked like they were having fun. Carl Wootton was insanely good. And he would have been my man of the match, I think. Yeah. It was just lovely. And much as I said afterwards, I enjoyed watching the football that Wycombe were playing. I really enjoyed watching the football that we were playing on Saturday.
It was like we'd kept elements of what we're trying to do this trick. I didn't want us to. I mean, I wanted us to make changes in how we play, because if we want these young players to develop and to be sold on, then these clubs in the Championship and higher are going to want to see that they can play in a certain way. So we need to add elements of that. But I just didn't agree with just fully ripping everything up and changing it. And that was, from the first whistle, it was a proper Challoner performance. It was the type of performance, particularly going back to the National League winning season, I think, of just being just relentless in the press. You pointed out that Challoner mentioned in his interview, Will, which he said before, about playing out from the back and not at the back.
At the back.
Which is something he's had to point out before. And we saw that. I thought the whole defence looked so much more solid with a keeper organising them. There were times in the second half where, I mean, I was up at tier 2, and you could hear Ben at the other end, like, shouting and organising. There was just such a different. Fraser Horsfall, who I think has been poor for large parts of this season, I was very surprised that he got Player of the Month. Was it the last month he got it? Well, the month that the Leyton Orient drubbing was in, he got player of the month in that month. He just looked so much more relaxed and composed. Everyone, Torre in at left centre back, which is where he was slagged off to buggery last season, playing there. I just can't. Even, I mean, Norwood and Connolly, probably the two players I've criticised the most this season, were both just quality. It was really interesting when the man of the match got announced, and just there's like this hush descending. It's like, I wonder.
I couldn't hear it.
To be fair, there was the same thing happened on Tuesday, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
It's like, who they picked here, the mad bastards. But anyone could have got it. It was just, again, Kyle Wootton getting a lot more of the ball into feet, so he's not going to give away fouls, because that referee really enjoyed giving fouls against Kyle Wootton. On
and then number 5 was tall, and was like.
Oh, he was big and daft. He must have won a competition to play.
He's been there for. That's Santos. That's Santos.
He was there for the last.
He was there when we played him in the FA Cup. Like he's.
Yeah, and he was shot then as well.
He's a good defender. I think there was those there was a moment in the second half that was comedy when he had his arm round Wotton's neck.
Yeah.
And the ref gave a free kick to Bolton. And I was just like...
Bonkers.
Because I do think Wotton gives as good as he gets a lot of the time. And I do think there are times he's given away a free kick where I go, yeah, I can see, it's 50-50. And in a 50-50, the ref's always going to side with the defender. They're always going to err on the side of caution, or at least it feels that way. That was not a 50-50. Santos was properly... It was practically a headlock, and he wins a free kick. And I just think, how is that happening? How is that what's going on? It was really weird.
Dion Charles started it because Dion Charles is rapid. He's like a little Lewis Bay in terms of kind of height and build. And I remember at the beginning thinking, oh yeah, he is really good. He's really pacey, and then didn't notice him for the rest of that. Like I couldn't tell you whether he finished on the pitch or not. Just completely neutralised.
It was such a contrast seeing the players from the Wycombe game when the players came out of the tunnel and lined up next to each other before the game. I thought, well, if we're gonna hump long balls up to Wotton in the air, then we're doing nothing. And then it was much looking at the Bolton side when they walked out, thinking they're not that big. These we could actually, because it's amazing that when we played Reading, a lot of the feedback from the Reading fans was that we just bullied them all over the park. And then you go to last Tuesday where the opposite happened, and I don't even think it was a case of us, but we just outplayed them. I got pelters on the old yellow board on Saturday night for saying that Bolton were good on the ball because they had, I think it was like 63% possession they had, but it was just all in front of us. I don't think there was one single ball in behind. They looked completely clueless, and I was very surprised it took us half an hour to score.
I think the first half for me was a very even game. I think Bolton were threatening, and I was concerned that they might score, but actually they didn't lay a glove on us. And then once it was similar in a way. I mean, it's similar in so many ways to the Wycombe game, but obviously the other way around. In that it was that momentum when those goals happened that changed the game. First half very even game. We score, but it's still it was in the balance, and obviously knowing how good they are at coming from behind, I just thought, this game isn't over. The second goal goes in, and I start to think, okay, we're getting somewhere here. And then the third and the fourth go in, and that was when Bolton just collapsed. And at 4-0, that was when I was not stopping people from seeing Bolton get battered. I wasn't joining in yet. That didn't happen till Bailey scored. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to... But hearing it from the away end, hearing Bolton get battered everywhere we go was a real kind of, eye-opening moment.
It hurt because Wycombe fans were singing at us on Tuesday night as well.
We've not gone anywhere.
Which I responded with mostly just at home. Because we've had Leighton Orient and we've now had Wycombe. And our only other defeat was against Lincoln, where I wouldn't say we got battered. So, and we also got battered in the League Cup that we don't talk about. So it's just at home. It's just at home. That's where we don't have to go anywhere to get battered.
Oh God, I've forgotten about that.
For all the talk of us singing about Bolton getting battered wherever they go, genuinely a bit. I actually walked out the ground a bit pissed off on Saturday because at no point did we sing "You're getting sacked in the morning" to Ian Everett. How
their
often
fans did.
Do you get? I know we didn't. No, we should have done it first. We should have been doing that at 1-0. I mean, that's some pantomime villain shit.
I did in Yellow Block at one point. How often do you get an
opportunity to sing that?
I did very quietly in Yellow Block, and then
did you?
A guy stood in front of me, turned around, and went, "I hope not. I've retired." So that was really funny. Same guy as well had been giving I think he was their left wing back, grief throughout the entire first half. Said something to him about they never pass to you. Have you noticed that they never pass to you? Just before they passed to him, he lost the ball to Southam Hales, who passed it to Bate, who gave it to Barry, who gave it to Collar, who scored. So I turned to him and said, "You've basically got the 5th assist on that." He goes, "He got the 4th assist." He goes, "Barry, Bate, Southam Hales, and you." So yeah, that was a good moment. That was
very glad you've just mentioned Macaulay Southam Hales there. Because I think the best way to wrap up our discussion of the Bolton game would be to mention both him and Ryan Rydell.
Yes.
I know Challoner mentioned it in his post-match interview as well about playing the occasion and having players that know what a game like that is like. So you had Ben in, you had Sal. How many players was it that played in the 5-3? Because you also had Will Collar, who I think played in that 5-3.
Yeah, Collar did.
Yeah.
I think he came off the bench, but I think he did.
He came off the bench, and Ben was on the bench, and then you had Southam Hales and Rydell as well. They were the ones. Yeah. So there was a point in the. I'm not sure if you were able to see it from where you were sat because of the posts, but there was a point where in the first half, in the right back position, right near our corner. Well, he first got in between two Bolton players to stop them having a chance, and then went to give away. He conceded a throw in, absolutely destroyed the Bolton winger. I will never get out of the mindset of every time Southam Hales goes in for a challenge, just thinking, oh god. But he absolutely killed this Bolton lad, and then got up in front of the pop side and did a bit of a. Raising the crowd. I was like, oh, I love that. He was fantastic. And Ryan Rydell on the other side. We've got a left footer who can deliver crosses and set pieces. We look so much more balanced. It's lovely. I have missed those two so much.
I think I'd forgotten how much we've missed Ryan Rydell.
Yeah.
I've been
banging that drum for ages.
It's been because he's been out for over a year, hasn't he? Or close to a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
14 months, I believe. Yeah.
From what Charlie said as well, he's had some kind of non-physical health issues in terms of he picks up knocks in training and then, perhaps is then overly concerned about what that might mean. And, then is going back through the kind of scan. So that will have done him the world of good in terms of confidence. And Charlie said to I can still call it GMR, BBC Radio Manchester, at the weekend that sometimes you need defeats like we had on Tuesday to force the issue almost. And for Ryan Rydell to be part of that kind of just incredibly convincing but summative win will have done wonders for his confidence, I hope.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, it feels like we've almost got to, hopefully, touch wood, we've got to that point that we've had the last two seasons where we've been a bit erratic early in the season, and then we've fallen up on whether through injury or other circumstances, we've fallen up on a way of playing and at least a spine of a team, and then gone on one of those runs. Because that happened even before under Jim Gannon in non-league as well. That's something that happened a lot with him, and sort of starting to get the feeling that might be what's going on.
Hopefully.
Is everyone else looking at the bottom left-hand corner?
I have no idea what Phil's referring to.
Why is there some...
Yeah,
I can't see it now anyway because I've covered it up.
Is it Gary Barlow's son? Have you seen all the awful things that like Ryanair and people have done about Gary Barlow's son?
Well, it's like any social media trend. It gets ruined as soon as that Barclaysman thing cleansed my timeline on Twitter. With videos of Barclays men, and then football clubs started getting on it with theirs, and it's true Barclays men is Wigan and Stoke players in the Premier League. That's the essence of the Barclaysmen. I do not want Brentford posting videos of Johan Visser from last season and saying, "Oh, Barclaysmen." Well, is it even sponsored by Barclays anymore? I don't think it is. So no.
I'll be honest
as
with you.
soon as official accounts get involved, that's when these trends die.
Yes, but I also have no idea what you were just talking about. So,
oh, Will.
On Saturday as well, we've got Ethan Pye back from suspension, which feels like a good time to offer our congratulations to friend of the show and previous guest Dave Philbin and his lovely wife Beth and their family, who welcomed baby Ethan on Saturday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that was exciting and lovely.
Friend and contributor to the show as well. He's been on. Yeah.
I said previous guest.
Yeah.
Little bit. I know. It just that was more for him. That was just so if he ever moans for anything, I can go. Well, we did have you on, so up your day. Talking of little announcements. No, it's not an announcement. But myself and Ben will be doing a bit of content outside the ground pre-match on Saturday. So if you want to be quizzed on your county knowledge, just come and find us. We'll be outside the main
Have you done the quiz questions, or has Ben done the quiz questions? Because I was like, "Oh, I'll come along," and then you mentioned Ben, like, no.
What we might do,
half
do 2 sets. We'll do a set where you get a point for each answer that I've written, and then a set that he's written where you get 2 points for each answer. You can have the easy or hard questions. Maybe we'll do that.
I'd like the Nick questions, please.
Okay, we shall see about that. Yes, that I think is everything. Will, do you have anything to say that's not been said?
No. Oh, we didn't talk about Tranmere, but who cares?
Yeah. Just go and listen to Swerving the Checkatrade by Half Man Half Biscuit. Everything you need to know will be in that song. Is anyone going tomorrow?
As my dinner tomorrow night. Yeah, I am going.
It was
but for food, essentially.
Yeah. I was originally going to be left with a decision to make, but now I'm working, so I don't. So, yeah, I won't be.
I was contemplating doing a watch-along on here, but frankly, I can't be asked.
The Whips and Chains Trophy. Yeah.
I love the way that we do just call it BDSM now. Like, I can't. The idea that it is not actually called that is alien to me.
It's got to the point where when the club put official content out now that mentions it, I'm like, typo. Typo there, bloody hell, Liam. Do you know it's the Whips and Chains Trophy sponsored by Rihanna against Rihanna's future club?
Oh God, yeah. Apparently, allegedly. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I can't. Oh, wonderful. Great. I think that's as good a place to wrap it up. Any. Do not forget to get your tickets for the evening with Andy Priest at the Spinning Top next week. £8 for non-members, £4 for court members. That's very reasonable.
It's an actual bargain.
Yeah, and good alcohol, good beers, good ciders, and good company. Mike does look after his beer. And someone's going to have to look after mine.
Someone's going to have to look after you.
Yeah. You've been to... I'll save it all till after we're done. It's fine.
Although my mum's coming, so I'm not sure whether we can give you to her to look after, or whether I'm be like, do just behave yourself.
I'll behave myself. I'm a professional, me. People don't think I am, but I am. I mean, if I have to say I'm a professional.
All right.
Probably not, am I? Right, we will be back same time next week. Hopefully talking about another comprehensive win against our friends from North Wales. But if not, it's okay.
It's fine.
We'll find something.
It's League One. It's League One.
It's League One. No one's winning everything. Everyone's dropping points. It's like that lovely sweet spot in League Two last season where everyone was dropping points and it didn't matter and it was all fine. It's all fine.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're just on like a spinning bit of rock and we are all eventually going to like fly into the sun and die. So,
and at least
thinking about.
Trump isn't our president, so
the inevitable heat death of the universe.
Yeah. Well, bye everyone.
On that note,
see ya.
Bye.